Happening right now on the news at noon, violence erupts in Northeast D.C. Gunfire killing at least one person, sending 5 others to the hospital. What we know about the victims and a possible shooter. And later on, the moment a caged dog was brought to safety when its home went up in flames. Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for the news at noon. I am Joseph Omo, filling in for Mark Hall. We're going to get Damon Matson in on the conversation with us right now at the top of the hour. You're looking at a live look at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I know that the sun shines down very beautifully on the White House. Mr. Damon Matson here with us now. Damon, it's a hot one out there, perhaps not as hot as it has been, but how high are we going to go today?
Well, it looks like we're going to have those temperatures continuing to climb here for us this afternoon. With that added sunshine, we are already ramping it up here. So how hot does it get by this afternoon? Could there be a few spotty storms again as well? We'll let you know in just a bit.
All right, Damon Matson to start us off there. Damon, thank you. Developing now.
The fact that residents had to experience this in their community.
Well, angry and sad. That is the tone that the D.C. Chief of Police is setting today following the city's 6th mass shooting just of 2022 alone. That stat comes from the D.C. Police Union. This map here that you see is from the Gun Violence Archive. It shows the staggering toll. Each of those little dots up there on the screen represents a different mass shooting happening in 2022. So far, 213 days into the year, there have been 387 mass shootings across this country. The most recent in Northeast D.C. on F Street. The police chief and fire chief recently spoke about this last night and into this morning. Chief John Donnelly with D.C. Fire and EMS sending out a tweet. It was a response to somebody else who thanked D.C. Fire and EMS for taking 5 victims from the shooting on F Street to the hospital. The chief is now asking everybody to keep those affected by last night's emergencies in their prayers. Now, police have confirmed to DC News Now today that all 6 of the victims in this latest mass shooting are men. 1 has died. It happened at the Aziz Bates Court Apartments. That's in Northeast D.C. If you're familiar with the area, it's very close. It's just a couple blocks away from RFK Stadium. D.C. Police Chief Robert Contee had a hard time holding back his frustration. During a late-night news conference, he expressed his outrage about the rising crime in D.C.
The residents didn't deserve this. They do not deserve to have people shot in the communities where they live. Yet it seems like we have people who are in our communities who just have lost their sense of humanity, and that really saddens me. But we will continue to do the things that we need to do to bring those individuals to justice.
All right, so we did get a quick update from police today. We know that those 5 people who were sent to the hospital, they are in stable condition. Still no word about a possible shooter or a motive. Well, happening right now, U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has landed. She's wheels down in Taiwan, becoming the highest-ranking American official to visit that country in 25 years. And there she is walking off the steps of that government plane there. Pelosi's visit has triggered increased tensions between China and the U.S. China claims Taiwan as part of its own territory to be annexed by force if necessary. And they view this visit by a foreign government official as recognition of the island's sovereignty, which is something that they don't want. China had warned of resolute and strong measures, close quote, if Pelosi went ahead with the trip. The Biden administration did not explicitly urge her to call it off, while seeking to assure Beijing it would not signal any change in U.S. policy on Taiwan. We got an update to a story we brought to you this morning. Arlington police have arrested this man up here on your screen, 62-year-old Julio David Villazon, for a fatal hit and run. The man is being charged with manslaughter, hit and run, driving under the influence, and driving revoked. The police have also identified the victim as 52-year-old Viviana Olax Lopez. She lived in Arlington. What happened around 7:30 last night at the intersection of 2nd Street and Old Glebe Road. Police say they found Viviana unresponsive in the street. She was transported to an area hospital where she was unfortunately pronounced dead shortly after. Julio is currently being held without bond in the Arlington County Detention Facility. Well, the Prince George's County Police in Maryland, they need your help in finding suspects who are tied to a fatal shooting in Woodbridge. Take a look. The shooting took place on July 20th around 6:30 p.m. The victim was 21-year-old Brian Darnell Marshall. The two suspects were caught on security camera, as you see right there, one openly carrying a long gun while the other had a handgun. Reports say there was also a third suspect who was not caught on this video camera that you're seeing right there. Both can also be seen hiding their identities with ski masks. Neighbors said they heard multiple gunshots before they saw the suspects fleeing and driving away in a vehicle that was either a gold SUV or a Mercedes. We have all of that information on our website, by the way, at dcnewsnow.com. Marshall died from his wounds with another unnamed victim. The department is offering up to $5,000 for anyone who can help find these two.
Justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more.
Well, President Biden is breaking his COVID isolation to address the nation after that deadly strike took out a leader of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Washington correspondent Anna Warnicki has more on the mission to take out the head of that dangerous terrorist group.
My fellow Americans.
Speaking from the White House balcony late Monday, President Joe Biden detailed the strike that killed one of the most wanted terrorists in the world, Ayman al-Zawahiri.
He carved a trail of murder and violence against American citizens, American service members, American diplomats, and American interests.
President Biden says al-Zawahiri was deeply involved in the planning of the 9/11 attacks, and he took over as the leader of al-Qaeda after the U.S. killed Osama bin Laden 11 years ago.
Justice has been delivered, and this terrorist leader is no more.
Al-Zawahiri escaped U.S. forces in 2001, and his whereabouts were unknown until the U.S. tracked him down to a safe house in Afghanistan, where they traced his movements daily for months and were able to conduct the strike against him with no other casualties. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle applauded the mission on Twitter. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying, quote, "Hats off to President Biden for this decisive action." And Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz tweeting, "This is an important accomplishment. All Americans will breathe easier today."
No matter how long it takes, no matter where you hide, if you are a threat to our people, the United States will find you and take you out.
President Biden there not mincing his words. Well, the Taliban did confirm the airstrike in a statement saying they strongly condemn the attack. Well, the White House has released this photo of President Biden meeting with his national security team in the Situation Room on July 1st to discuss counterterrorism plans to take out that al-Qaeda leader. At this meeting here, again, this happened all the way back on July 1st, the president was briefed on the proposed operation, and he was also shown a model of the safe house where that criminal was hiding in Kabul, Afghanistan, the capital city of Afghanistan. Biden authorized the operation to take him out after a second Situation meeting room that happened a little bit more recently on July 25th. Well, the governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, held a news conference this morning to release updated information concerning the devastating flooding that hit his state last week. 37 people now confirmed dead. Take a listen.
It is absolutely devastating out there. It's going to take years to rebuild. People left with absolutely nothing. Homes that we don't know where they are, just entirely gone. And we continue to find bodies of our brothers and sisters that we have lost.
So incredibly difficult. Governor Beshear says that there have been at least 1,300 rescues.